Am I the a-hole for saying no when my family said I should let my sister have her honeymoon at my house? Backstory. My house used to belong to my parents, but they sold it to me in 2017. It had been a family vacation home of sorts. Every couple of years when my grandparents were alive, they'd invite us kids up there for a week. Fast forward to the end of 2016, my sister got accepted to her dream college. Won't say which, but it's a big one. Everyone was excited and proud of her. Me too. But a week after that, my parents called asking if I'd found a house yet. I was looking for one and my family knew it. I've been saving up since I started my first job at 20. I said no, so my dad suggested I buy the lake house from them. I asked why they wanted to sell it. Turns out sister didn't have any savings for college, didn't get some scholarship like she'd planned, and our parents couldn't afford to pay for everything either. I asked why she didn't get student loans, and they said they didn't want her ruining her credit. So their solution was to sell the lake house and use the money from that to finance her college. I had lots of good memories from the lake house, so eventually I agreed. I work via computers, so after getting a good internet connection out there, moved right in and been there since. My significant other moved in permanently last year before lockdown, and it's been pretty blissful. 2019. My sister and her college boyfriend got engaged. Parents agreed to pay for her wedding, but like with every other wedding around then, things got set back. Sister had to postpone her wedding until this year, and she plans to have it in December. I even agreed to be in the bridal party. Issues came up recently when my sister asked where I was going to stay for the 2 weeks after her wedding. Puzzled, I answered, my house? She got a sour look and said that wouldn't work. Her and fiancé would be there and they wanted private time. I asked why they'd be at my house, and she said that's where they were having their honeymoon. 2 weeks alone at a lake house. I said that was news to me, and she insisted our parents said it was fine, but I said it wasn't their place to make decisions about my house. After arguing, she called our parents who said I was being unreasonable. I said I didn't want my sister and her fiancé christening their new union by being intimate in my house. They said I was being gross and selfish. I said no again, so sister threatened to remove me from the bridal party. I just shrugged and said okay. She starts crying, saying she already couldn't have her dream wedding like she wanted, and now I was trying to ruin her honeymoon too. I told her to rent a hotel room like every other newlywed couple, then hung up. She's not speaking to me, and I'm uninvited to the wedding. Our parents keep calling me and saying I should do this for her since her wedding's only 1/3 what she wanted it to be. But I'm not comfortable with them staying unsupervised at my house. They're making me feel like a monster for saying no. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I don't know if it's just me, but the favoritism is shining brighter than the sun. Not the a-hole. Your sister is crazy for expecting that before even conforming with you. It's definitely not you. I could see the favoritism shining from a mile away. Very easy to see who the golden child is here. OP not the a-hole. It's your home, so your parents and sister have absolutely no say whatsoever who can and can't stay there without consulting the person who owns the property. They sold it to you, so it's no longer the family holiday / lake house. It's your house. They don't get to take the money from the sale and still dictate who can and can't use it. That's not how selling a house works. Period. Not the a-hole. They don't have money to cover for her education to the point of selling a house, but they do for her wedding? She doesn't get to guilt you for already not having her dream wedding because she chose to get married at a time in which she still depends on her parents. What she needs is a reality check, not a wedding. Until your parents stop treating her like their little princess, she's gonna be a lost cause, which you don't have to take any responsibility for. I actually worry about this a lot. I wonder how she's going to survive after our parents pass away because they're not young anymore. They're getting old, and once they're gone, I'm not taking their place to cuddle her. My family said I should let my sister have her honeymoon at my house. I'm sorry, what now? Look, it's your house now. It's been your home for 4 years. Not only do your parents have no business giving anyone permission to stay at your home, what the heck was your sister thinking that you just moved out of your home for 2 weeks? Which would also mean you're paying money for their honeymoon. Not just because you would need a hotel, but also because you're the one paying for the utilities. And while it was rather crass to explicitly say what they would be doing in your house, it is accurate and reasonable to object to them staying at your house. She's not speaking to me and I'm uninvited to the wedding. So, not only entitled, but incredibly petty and vindictive. Our parents keep calling me and saying I should do this for her since her wedding is only 1/3 what she wanted it to be. That's unfortunate for her, but that doesn't make it okay to demand others give her anything because of it. It certainly doesn't make it okay to demand someone give up their home for 2 weeks. Not day-haul. Yeah, if she wanted to visit with her fiancé, then I could handle that. I'd still be skeeved out that they'd more than likely be bumping uglies out of earshot of me and my significant other. But I would have handled that better than her basically asking me to leave for 2 weeks for her. Little update. Well, learned something new today. I spoke to my sister, like a few people suggested, and asked her if she knew the lake house was legally my house. As in, I bought it years ago. She was not, in fact, aware of this. She was under the impression from our parents that they were letting me live there rent-free. I corrected her and even showed her proof that they sold the house to me. And when she asked why they sold it, I was honest and said it was to pay for her college tuition/lifestyle. She became quiet after that and we soon hung up. No idea what's going to happen now. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my wife's brother out of my wedding? To start, I just want to mention that my brother-in-law Dennis, male 24 and I male 28, don't see eye to eye with each other because we're both very different individuals. He's a bit arrogant and doesn't like to spend time with family. My wife tried to have us spend more time together, but me and Dennis just don't get along. Simple as that. My in-laws are his providers, and they also raise hell on whoever tries to disrespect him. They love me as well, so that's nice. At least I thought. Anyway, so when I visited Dennis to personally hand him my wedding invitation, he told me he may not be attending because he planned to go fishing that day. I couldn't tell if it was a joke, but I didn't care although this is his sister's wedding. At my wedding, I thought Dennis wasn't coming, and his dad said he's gone fishing. My wife was upset until he showed up, but I wasn't happy. I was mad when I saw that he showed up in t-shirt and shorts, sunglasses and flip-flops. I flipped the hell out and asked what the hell he was wearing. He said it perfectly matches the weather, and complained that it's hot and we could have just picked an indoor venue with air conditioning instead. The guests were staring. Dennis said he didn't give a damn. I pulled him aside and demanded he go change if he still wanted to be at the wedding. My father-in-law gave the leave him alone look, and my wife was shocked. But I certainly told him he needed to have some respect and not wear freaking flip-flops at my wedding. He left and came back in 40 minutes wearing a tuxedo very, very similar to mine with the same bow tie and same everything. My best man was the first to see. He was shocked and told me we had a problem. I had it. I immediately walked up to him to stop him from being seen by the guests. Asked him if he was crazy and yelled at him to leave. My in-laws got involved and told me to back off. This event isn't mine alone, therefore I have no right to kick their son out for following the rules, and accused me of intentionally excluding him from his sister's wedding. He told his parents to not bother with me, shouting, "He's jealous," in front of my family. I kicked him out and told my in-laws they were next if they tried to bring him back. My in-laws were livid and kept berating me for hours, demanding I apologize for making Dennis miss his only sister's wedding. We haven't talked in a week, and my wife says Dennis and I are both a-holes. Was I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here, except your wife. But you, most of all. You. Nowhere in this do I see your wife's opinion, except until after the facts. You don't kick out your partner's sibling without their opinion, period. Also, personally, I don't give a damn what people would be wearing to my wedding as long as my loved ones are there. You sound like appearances are more important than people to you. P.S. You don't have to like the guy, but he's your wife's family. You need to learn to deal with him. Dennis, he's a-hole for showing up without confirmation. And I'm guessing the whole tuxedo thing was him making a statement he should have not been making at someone else's wedding. Though his behavior was totally provoked by you, at least in part. The in-laws, a-hole for berating you at your own wedding. All of you, not taking into account what the bride actually wanted, and being self-centered a-holes on her wedding day. Honestly, if I was your wife, I'd have left my own wedding and left you sorry a-holes to fight it out. The lot of you. I have to disagree. Opie is not an a-hole. His brother-in-law purposely wore the outfit he did as an act of disrespect. He wore clothes that specifically said, "This wedding is an afterthought." The brother-in-law was purposely trying to provoke Opie. He was not provoked by Opie. Everyone sucks here. You fell right into his trap. He wanted to make you look like the a-hole. He knew what he was doing. He's a pile of toxic goo parading around as a man. I'm sorry he's your brother-in-law. And if you think this is the last time he will pull crap like this, you're mistaken. Not a a-hole. And why was it your wife is pissed, or more, as you were at her brother's behavior? Exactly. If the roles were reversed and the groom's sister showed up in a wedding dress, everyone would be singing a different tune, saying she isn't the a-hole for kicking the sister out, but because Opie is a man and the wedding isn't about him. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for taking my sister on my honeymoon instead of leaving her with my parents? My 36 female baby sister 12 female has autism, sensory processing disorder, ADHD, and multiple chronic physical illnesses. She started getting diagnosed with everything when she was almost 5. After a year, my parents decided they couldn't deal with her and asked me and my then boyfriend, now fiancé 38 male, to adopt her. My fiancé and I are getting married at the end of next month, and we'll be going to Hawaii for a week for our honeymoon. We've had a hard time finding someone to take care of her, and we asked my fiancé's parents to take her. They said no, but offered to pay for her to come on our honeymoon and any extra childcare costs and accommodations that she would need. We thought about it for a while and decided to take her. She's so excited for the trip, and the hotel has an amazing daycare that she can go to when my fiancé and I need some time away from her. My parents came over last weekend, and the first thing my sister told them was that she's coming to Hawaii with us. My parents asked why, and I said we couldn't find anyone to take care of her because of how complex her needs are, so we decided to take her with us. They offered to take her for the week, but we declined because 1. They love spending time with her, then get tired of her after around an hour. 2. They ignore her sensory issues. 3. They admit they are not capable of taking care of her. I told them why we declined, and my mom started yelling at me for making them out to be bad parents. They also refused to admit that we're her parents and hates when she calls them grandma and grandpa. They are not speaking to us and are threatening to not come to the wedding. So I wanted to know if I was the a-hole. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your parents were so incapable of caring for your sister that you had to adopt her. You can't trust your parents to care for your sister unsupervised for any length of time. Also, you should uninvite them from your wedding. They are toxic. They also refuse to admit that we're her parents and hates when she calls them grandma and grandpa. Guess they should have been actual parents and not have their adult daughter adopt her then. Can't have your cake and eat it too. Not the a-hole. They are bad parents, or they would be if they were raising her. Frankly, if they don't come to your wedding, they're showing that their fantasy world is more important than you or your sister. Yeah. Being manipulative and trying to guilt Opie by threatening not to go to the wedding after giving up their own child to Opie does make them bad parents. Not the a-hole. I actually think that's really sweet to bring her along. It's a shame you're not able to find suitable care to leave her with and have the honeymoon all to yourselves. But it's awesome that you're willing to take her with you rather than leave her with someone who cannot cope with her needs. And at least with the daycare, you'll get some alone time together, and she'll still be able to be with you two and have a good holiday whilst getting appropriate care when in their daycare. Her nanny can take care of her overnight. She just wasn't available the week of the honeymoon, so we'll go away for a weekend without her soon. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not paying for college? I'll preface this by saying that I, 33 male, am a widower. My wife Lee died 3 years ago due to hemorrhaging after giving birth to our twins, Dan and Sam. We had older sons 6 years ago and married shortly after college. I've been successful in my career, as was my wife. So I guess one might call us upper middle class? After Lee died, my sister moved in. My wife and I agreed she could stay with us during college 3 months before twins were born. My sister was 19 at the time, and her university was less than a mile from our home. Although I am still thankful to this day, sister helped me hire a nanny, a housekeeper, and would even watch the twins and my son on occasion. Wife had worked remotely, so we never needed them before and split the cooking and housework 50-50. Except the yard, I have horrible allergies, so I pay for service. I had the money, and to show my appreciation, I paid for tuition and fees. Fast forward, it's 3 years later. Sister will graduate summa cum laude and has several job offers. I'm very proud of her. She's helped me on weekends when I was forced to go out of town and watch the children. Nanny and housekeeper only work Monday to Friday. I don't think I need a nanny or housekeeper when I'm there to take care of the children or cook/clean up. Problem? My brother-in-law, 23 male, is demanding that I pay his tuition/housing/etc. He says he deserves it because it is what his sister would have wanted. He doesn't live with me, nor has he ever helped me with his nephews and niece. He just expects it. I've gotten several awkward phone calls from my wife's family because he is telling everyone that I am paying. Am I the a-hole if I say no? Not the a-hole. Your sister was providing a service in exchange for education. As in bartering. Your brother-in-law has nothing to barter with. I am curious as to how he knows about your financial arrangement with your sister though, since finances are nobody else's business. Besides, you have to save up for your children's college now anyways. Why would you be a a-hole when all your brother-in-law have done to you and your families ask for money? You've given money to your sister because you got something in return, which would else be given to someone else to do the things for you. If your wife was alive, maybe you two would have helped him even if he didn't do anything. But your income is half than it would be, and you would still have to spend money on you and your children. The alternative to you paying your sister is not giving him money, it's giving someone else money, not a hole. I saw this and wanted to reply. I never asked my sister to watch the children. She volunteered. I asked her about it a few minutes ago because it made me worried that I made her feel compelled to watch them/help me after my wife died. Sister says, "Because you're my brother, you doofus." Her words verbatim. I paid off her schooling to show my appreciation for her sacrifices these last 3 years. Wow, it will be 4 years in November. I guess when I paid off sister's schooling debt, she'd told our parents, who are still good friends with Lee's parents. I've decided not to pay for brother-in-law's schooling. I know my wife would have at least given him a gift or something, so I think a microwave and mini fridge and maybe a new printer will be the extent of my contribution to his education. I saw the bit about paying someone else's tuition wouldn't be any different. I think a memorial scholarship at her alma mater might be something I discuss with my financial advisor. Thanks. Am I the a-hole for disowning my wife's daughter after she chose her mom's affair partner over me? I, 35 male, met my now soon-to-be ex-wife, 33 female, during uni 12 years ago. She already had kid when she was 19, but the dad left as soon as she started uni. We were dating for 3 months before I met her daughter, Lisa. I remember seeing her family for the first time. I was nervous meeting her parents, but when I saw a little girl beside her mom, I was confused. I asked her if that was her little sister or a cousin of hers, and her answer shocked me. When she told me that that's her daughter, I thought I misheard her or something. At first, I wanted to dump her for hiding something so crucial for me, but she kept on begging for me to stay, and eventually I relented. And soon enough, I started to fall in love with her daughter and wanted to be her father figure. Our bond grew stronger over the years, and in early 2019, before the pandemic hit, we got married. In late 2021, I adopted Lisa, and in early 2022, my wife gave birth to our son, Mark. After my son was born, my wife made a choice to stay at home for the time being, and I was completely fine with that. Everything was going perfectly until a few months ago. I started noticing my wife increasingly spending time with her friends. At the time, I didn't say anything since in my mind, being at home all day was probably eating at her, and I didn't want to seem controlling. The thing that made me suspicious was her constant texting and going out of the room for calls. She never did that for anyone besides this one friend of hers. I asked her about it, but she gave me some vague answers about gossip. The moment that took it too far, though, was when I came home last week and saw her outside talking on the phone. This wasn't out of the ordinary. I remember seeing my son on the floor crying alone. I was angry at my wife for just leaving him alone in the house, but when I went to pick him up and smelled the horrible stench coming from him, I was beyond furious. His diaper seemed like it hadn't been changed since that morning. I quickly changed his diaper and rushed outside with him in my arms. I was beyond mad. I snatched her phone from her hand and bolted back inside. I locked my wife outside to have a talk with this friend of hers alone. I had my suspicions about who it really was, and when I heard a male voice calling out her name and asking who was there, I immediately knew what was going on. He ended the call as soon as he heard my voice, and then proceeded to lock the front door to make sure my wife couldn't enter the house at all, and proceeded to screenshot as much of their chat as I could, and then sent them to myself before deleting them on her phone. About 5 minutes later, she was still banging on a glass door leading to the backyard. I reluctantly opened it and was met with a smack in the face. Remember, all of this is happening while I'm holding my toddler in my arms. As soon as she realized what she just did, she apologized profusely, started crying, and tried to hug me. I pushed her away and told her to meet me at the dining table. I told my daughter to quickly take care of the baby so me and her mom could have a quick chat. I just kept it simple. I told her this was her only chance to even have a sliver of chance of getting me back. If she messed up this talk, it was over on the spot. No lies, nothing. She kept on trying to apologize and to say it wasn't that serious. I reminded her that she not only screwed me over, she could also have easily done serious harm to our son by leaving him alone in the house like that. And then simply asked who, for how long, and did they hook up. She replied with her ex-boss Daniel, 6 months, and she didn't answer the last one. So I kept on reminding her that this was her last chance. She then just simply nodded. I then asked her if they used protection. To this, she started crying and started begging me for forgiveness. She said she would block him then and there, would never contact him again. I could sleep with any woman I want from now on, yada yada. I guess Lisa heard a commotion and came downstairs. I told her to go back up, but she just walked to my wife and asked her if I knew about Daniel. Up to this point, I was calm, but upon hearing this, I swear even I started tearing up. I asked Lisa if she knew all along, and she said yes. At this point, I'm full on crying, and I asked her why she didn't tell me. She responded with, because unlike you, Daniel buys me the things I want without having to beg. I asked her how she could possibly do this to her dad. She responded with the "you're not my real dad" crap. My wife screamed at her upon hearing what she said. At that point, I couldn't bear any of this anymore. I just grabbed my son and got into the car. Me and my son are currently staying at my parents' house. I've basically been drinking myself to sleep every day. Thanks to the saints of a mother I have, my son is being taken care of right now. I'm beyond hurt. I've canceled my ex-daughter's private school tuitions, all her extracurricular activities, and I've contacted a divorce lawyer. He's going to serve my wife this Friday. My wife and Lisa have been blowing up my phone non-stop with apologies. I simply responded with, "Get a lawyer and tell that ungrateful thing of yours to start calling Daniel her dad. I'm disowning her." And then I blocked my wife. I didn't respond to Lisa. I just simply blocked her. I guess my wife told our friends what her and Lisa did, and now they have been texting me non-stop. They understand how I feel, but believe I'm going too far by divorcing my wife without hearing her out. They also keep telling me that disowning Lisa is definitely going too far, and she's only a kid and didn't understand what she was doing. I just can't get over the things she told me. I've worked my butt off to give my wife and daughter luxuries I could have only dreamt of as a kid, and this is how I get repaid? Lisa, 13 years old, is old enough to understand that hiding her mom's affair is bad, and definitely purposely used those words to hurt me. But a part of me believes that there is still hope. A few family counseling sessions later, and we can go back to living the life I once considered a fairy tale. I'm beyond destroyed by this whole situation. A part of me just wants to see them burn in hell, but the other part of me believes there is still hope. Am I really going too far? Is there still hope? Am I the a-hole for disowning my daughter and divorcing my wife? Now for the top comments. I would get a DNA test on your son just in case. Thank you for your concern, but I know my son is mine. He's literally a mini-me. Get an STD test just in case. Who knows how loyal that Daniel guy has been to your soon-to-be ex. OP, go ahead and take a paternity and STD test. Go screw up the affair partner. Or pretend to get back together. Take her word, go after her pals, and then divorce her. Hey, that's just me being a vindictive person. F that, don't take them back. Not the a-hole. Stop drinking, bro. It only makes the thoughts worse. I'm writing this drunk, but thank you. I know I need to stop at some point. I am so terribly sorry. Betrayal like this just trips us in half. Know that there are so many of us out here who had all kinds of horrendous experiences like this, and we have recovered and realized that a person we loved never existed. And then the love evaporates. It's very interesting. It takes about 2 years. We realized they lied to us every single day. They manipulated us so we wouldn't notice. They triangulated against us with the affair partner and here with the stepdaughter, which makes it spicier as an affair. Eventually, you will repair and heal, and it will all settle. It sounds like you'll probably pay some child support for a while. You'll get your poor baby tested and figure out what you want to do. And then you'll realize how messed up you were by what she intentionally did to you subversively. You will start to repair, and you'll start to rebuild, and your life will be better than ever. Hang in there. Thank you so much. I teared up reading that. Not a-hole. I 100% get the hurt and feeling of betrayal. Your stepdaughter might only be 13, but was mature enough to hit you where it would hurt you the most, when you were already down. I would stick with the divorce. Cheating is a deal breaker for me. You may be able to salvage the relationship with your daughter, but it's going to take real remorse on her part, or you'll always wonder if she's only apologized to get back in your financial good books. Thank you. If I reconcile with her, I'm definitely not giving back the life she once had. She has to work for that. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not doing anything for my stepchildren anymore after being called names and filing for a divorce from my husband after he didn't back me up? I, 30 female, have been married to my 34 male husband for 6 years and he has twins, a boy and a girl, and they're 16 now. When we started dating/got married, we went to family therapy, and I made it clear that I was not trying to be their mother or replace their mother. Their mother hasn't been in their lives since they were about 8. Things have been great with us these past 6 years. They even started calling me mom when they were around 12/13. Recently, their bio mother came back into their lives, and they were really excited. Things were great for about 6 months, and then they started to call me by my real name. That hurt, but it's what they chose to do, and I never questioned it. Recently, they've been getting very disrespectful. They don't follow the curfew rules, they're not cleaning up after themselves, they're talking back to me, telling me I'm not their real mom, that I'm the reason she left. Which is not true. I didn't meet him until almost a year and a half after she left, and that now that she's back, they don't need me anymore. 3 weeks ago, there was a big blow-up where my stepson called me the B-word. I took his phone and told him to go to his room until his dad came back. But instead, he ran out and went to his mom's. She came over and it was a big argument. She tried to hit me, and I pushed her out of my house. My stepdaughter told me if I ever put my hands on her mom again, she'd kick my butt. They both went to their mom's place. After that, I haven't been very active. I usually take them to sports and activities. I don't wake them up for school, so they've been late a few times. I tell them to have their mom wake them up and take them. We were supposed to go to Disney World for their spring break this week, but I canceled everything. I told them and my husband, and I guess they thought I was bluffing. We were supposed to leave Thursday night, and when I didn't start the usual vacation roundup, they were shocked. They started saying I was jealous that their mom came back in their lives, that I'm a horrible person, I'm selfish. There was some name calling and my husband was silent. I asked him if he was going to step in, and he said I was wrong for canceling. I left and went to stay in a hotel. He has been blowing my phone up asking me to come back, and yesterday he told me that their mother disappeared again, and they've been calling me crying and apologizing. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't feel like I'm part of their family, and they can't just cry and come back now that she disappeared. I told my husband that I want a divorce, and I'll be back over this week to get my things, but we have nothing to talk about. Yes, I know their mother was manipulating them. I never said otherwise. Yes, they are 16. That doesn't give them the right to treat me this way. Being 16 doesn't mean you get to be disrespectful and threaten me. I've always been in their corner. I know their feelings matter in this, but I'm also a person with feelings. I'm not only considering or moving forward with this divorce based on how the children acted, it is also that my husband did not back me up in this. If I can't count on him to help me navigate this tough situation that we were all going through, then why should I stay? That does not mean that I should be treated the way I was being treated. That is not normal 16-year-old behavior. To threaten me? Call me vile names? I just need time for myself. And I don't want an apology just because their bio mother ran out on them again. I want an apology because they really mean it. And I don't believe anyone can be truly sorry 2 days after their mother vanished again. I would never just abandon them, but I do need time for myself because my feelings were disregarded. Yes, I am an adult, but I still have feelings that were hurt and need time for myself. I never ask or expect them to be perfect. I never expect them to be the most mature people. But I am allowed to be hurt and take time for myself during all of this. They have feelings and so do I. I love them very much. They are my children, but this is a very complicated situation. This is not because they called me a bee. I've been called worse. I'm a woman. This is ultimately about my husband not backing me up during this situation. And yes, I am hurt that they called me that. I'm allowed to be. It hurts even worse coming from two people who I love dearly and would never hurt or want any harm to come to them. Not a-hole. If your husband stepped up and actually parented his children, then he wouldn't be looking forward to his second divorce and being a single parent. If bio mom hadn't done her disappearing act again, I wonder if he'd even be calling Opie to beg her to come back. Bio mom knew she won, so she checked out. It was clear what bio mom was doing, but to disappear after she convinced her kids to blow up their home life just seems so messed up. I can see doing that if bio mom had plans to get her family back, but to leave when they need her? I hope these kids realize what kind of person their mom really is, and that their dad gets them the help they need to deal with this. OP, you're not wrong to leave. The moment the disrespect started, your husband should have stepped up. To hell with all of them. Go find someone without kids and live your best life. Don't be talked into going back. They don't love you. They love what you can do for them. Big difference. Oof, hit the nail right on the head. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to allow my daughter around my brother-in-law for something he did years ago and leaving my husband because of it? Back when my brother-in-law was 28, he had a relationship with a 15-year-old girl. He ended up in prison for 12 years on kidnapping and charges. He just got out 2 years ago and moved back to our home state 3 months back. Now, my husband and I have a 13, almost 14-year-old daughter, his stepdaughter technically, and I absolutely refuse to allow my brother-in-law around her. Everyone in the family is extremely mad at me because he did his time and paid his dues. They have tried convincing me several times that what my brother-in-law did was a one-time thing, and that since my brother-in-law is mentally delayed due to childhood trauma, that he really didn't understand that what he did was wrong, because mentally he was on the same page as the 15-year-old girl. I refuse to buy into the excuses, and have stood firm behind not allowing this man near my kid. I don't care if he is reformed and found Jesus. I don't care if he openly admitted it was a mistake and is apologetic. He still violated a kid who is close in age to my daughter. Well, yesterday the family called us and said they needed to have a family discussion and asked to come over, which I allowed. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sister-in-law were all here and said that our niece's 12th birthday is coming up next week and that they want us to attend, but said that brother-in-law would be there. They asked that I put up with it for a few hours for my niece's sake and said, "We will make sure that John isn't around your daughter. We will pay close attention," and basically begged me to just put it behind me for just a few hours. I said absolutely not. They all have this belief that he is reformed anyhow, so I don't trust them to keep an eye on my kid because they all think he's cured and wouldn't do that to family. They left angry anyways. Well, I walked by the bathroom last night and heard my husband crying. I knocked on the door and found him sitting on the edge of the tub. He unleashed a world of hurt on me, saying he is freaking sick of being caught in the middle of all this BS and feels like I'm making him choose between his entire family and me because his brother will be at all events from this point forward, so he knows that he won't be able to go because of it. He said that he is angry at all of us and is starting to hate us all because we won't shut the heck up and stop giving him ultimatums. I haven't given him any. I simply walked out and went to my mother's with my kid. I know he's hurt right now, but I will never tolerate the lack of concern for my own child after what that man did. Am I wrong here? Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. You need to keep your daughter safe. If he is developmentally delayed and did not know what he did was wrong, chances are he is in the same place mentally now, and it could happen again. Tell your husband he can attend family gatherings without you if his brother will be there, then he does not have to choose. Not only that, depending on the state they're in, he is a registered offender. Which means, depending on level, if I had to be a betting person, I would say the highest level and for life, he can't be around any child under 18. So really, it would be a violation of his registration if he was around a child that is underage, given his prior convictions. I wonder if the parents of the birthday girl's friends are aware there will be a predator at the party where they will be dropping their children off? I guarantee they don't. When I was 10, I went to a birthday party and there was a creepy uncle type just being super freaking weird the whole night. And then someone came late, and as soon as he walked in, he started yelling at the dude and the mother of the birthday boy. And then he went to all the parents and started telling them that the guy was a pedo who wasn't allowed around children. The bastard molested his own kids. To say they almost turned into a mob to attack this lady and a creep is an understatement.